Hey guys, it's Lord of the Pogs. You've probably experienced this weird mental state at least once in your life. You hear or utter a familiar word and it doesn't feel real. Maybe it's been a while since you've used it, or maybe somebody repeated it too many times. Or you see a friend that suddenly, without notice, feels like someone you've never met. Sound familiar? Jamais vu is a rare phenomenon when you momentarily don't recognize a word, person, or place that you already know. There's a sense of eeriness and the impression of seeing a situation for the first time despite rationally knowing that you have been in the situation before. The exact reasons for these phenomena are not fully understood. It may be related to disruptions in memory retrieval or processing, and are sometimes associated with certain types of amnesia and epilepsy. Say you are having a conversation with a close friend. Suddenly, you feel as if every single bit of information you know about them disappears from your mind for a few moments in some inexplicable way. And thus, the person you actually know well now feels like a stranger. A few seconds later, everything comes back to normal. Another important thing about Jamais vu is the eeriness you feel only applies to the here and now. Your sense organs continue to transmit information through neural pathways, but the brain gets disconnected from reality. This vague mental state has no obvious causes. In fact, after the release of the movie The Matrix, Jamais vu and Déjà vu can almost be perceived like glitches in the Matrix. If you think about it, it indeed looks like a computer system error. Dr. Chris Moulin of the University of Leeds believes that a similar brain fatigue underlies a phenomenon observed in some schizophrenia patients, that a familiar person has been replaced by an imposter. Dr. Moulin suggests they could be suffering from chronic jamais vu. When we enter a state of high anxiety, the brain works on overdrive to create protective measures to avoid trauma. People are more likely to experience jamais vu in a situation they may find distressing. That being said, jamais vu can occur at any time and any place. Think of it as an experience of recall without recognition. Part of what's so jarring about this phenomenon is that it's unexpected. To suddenly feel disoriented and not know why, and to not have anticipated this almost out-of-body experience, can be very frightening because there's no certainty that it's temporary. Jamais vu may involve looking at a familiar face and finding it suddenly unusual or unknown. Musicians have it momentarily, losing their way in a very familiar passage of music. You may have had it going to a familiar place and becoming disoriented. It's an experience which is even rarer than déjà vu and perhaps even more unusual and unsettling. Jamais vu signals you that something has become too automatic, too fluent, too repetitive, and it's probably a natural reaction to loss of meaning and repetition. It helps us snap out of our current processing, and the feeling of unreality is in fact a reality check. It makes sense that this has to happen. Our cognitive systems must stay flexible, allowing us to direct our attention to wherever is needed, rather than getting lost in repetitive tasks for too long. The main scientific account is of satiation, the overloading of a representation until it becomes nonsensical. Related ideas include the verbal transformation effect, whereby repeating a word over and over activates so-called neighbors, so that you start off listening to the looped word tress over and over, but then listeners report hearing dress, stress, or florist. It also seems related to research into obsessive-compulsive disorder. Like repeatedly writing, the effects are strange and mean that reality begins to slip, but this might help us understand and treat OCD. If repeatedly checking that the door is locked makes the task meaningless, it will be difficult to know if the door is locked, even if you remember locking it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And hit that little bell to get notifications on more videos like this one.